Good day, everyone. How are you, beautiful people? I've got sound coming from somewhere. I must have my, gonna have echo. Hello, everybody. Let's just see who's in. Sorry, I'm a little bit slow off the bat. Michelle, you've got sound on your one?
No, I turned it off. I did have.
Cheers, everybody. Good health to you all. And yes, Rena, there is something playing somewhere. Let me find it. Somewhere there's a video playing. Probably on another page. Oh, dearie me. There I am. Dual me. There's another me left open on another desktop.
There are lots of people in.
Now, forgive me if my voice is a bit croaky this evening. Good day, Ben. Good day, Piper. Good day, Mirza. Good day, Dirk, Arthur, Bruno, Jasper, Sally, Ben, Mirza, and Rena. How are you all? Beautiful to have you in. Margie's in. Wendy's in. I'm sorry, I never got. Wendy chose the date on the last pop quiz, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Didn't you say 1984, Wendy? And then my data went, and since then we've been a little bit behind. I am going to do that pop quiz on Facebook at some time. Don't worry, but it might.
Now it says, "Oh no, voice croaky, 14-day isolation."
I know. Corona. Corona.
Mert's in and Francie's in.
Mert's in. G'day, Mert. How are you, bro?
He's waving to you from the window.
How are you, mate? What a beautiful day. I mean, the market was open today. Michelle and I have been down to the bazaar, the big fruit and veg market, and I've come back laden with goodies, like sacks upon sacks of good stuff and not so good stuff, and fruit. And we've got medjool dates, and I didn't get any figs this time, so I thought I had figs at home. Well, I did. I had two, but I ate them earlier on. But we got some lovely. The apricots are really nice at the moment, and the cherries are all in season. So we got all the cherries here as well. They're all in season. Michelle loves the cherries, so generally they go to Michelle, and I get to eat all the figs and dates.
So Wendy says, "How? I don't remember what year I said now."
1984, Wendy, you said 1980. Lucky I remember for you, but I actually haven't had time to do the pop quiz. Only because every day we did a video last week every day, and and there was those few days when we didn't have any internet. But we'll get there.
Bruno Fletcher said, "My voice has been croaky for a few days. Don't worry, I still got it."
Yeah, it could fade on me. I've been talking for quite a while. Actually, Mert will know from watching out from the balcony here. I've been chatting downstairs for a couple of hours, and we've been out walking all day, and it's a hot, dry day. But I'll be good. I've got myself this beautiful Bermonti red ale. This is a local brewed beer here in Istanbul. It's very similar to the one I had the other day. I quite like this. It's only the second time I've had it. It's not a bad beer, and actually, when you've got a thirst, it's quite good.
So Mercer said, "How's your street at the moment?"
It's almost back to normal. It's its normal quiet self. Noisy, and
Jane says, "Hi, I'm from Brazil. I'm here."
Hey Jane, how are you?
And Paul says, "Cheers, mate."
G'day, Paul. How are you, mate? I've also got a cup of tea on the go, so I can keep my larynx lubricated, so I can chat to you all.
Dirk says, "Just about to ask what beer you were drinking."
It's very similar to that pale ale that I was drinking the other day, but this is the red, so it's quite it's close to I can't think what it's similar to actually. It's got quite a slightly malty flavour, slightly yeasty flavour, almost like a yeast beer. Like it tastes a bit like a yeast beer. Well, all beers are yeast, but if you know what I mean.
So Mio says, hello, Steve and Michelle from the beach. Been to the beach again, Mio. Jasper Jones says, hey, and Mirza wants to go have a look at the street.
You can have a look. The street is quiet on. Okay, let's have a little look. It's quiet at the moment because it's night time. Now, down there's a few people. There's our friend Taha with the tiny little dog. He's got one of those little, what do they call those? Pomeranian? Little Pomeranian. And over that side there, that is Mert. And he can probably wave to you out the window. Yeah, he's there. Can you see his hand? Give us a big wave, buddy. So literally, you've got somebody who's watching at the moment that's within earshot of me. Thank you, man.
It says, nice, I'm having black tea and lemon pale ale.
Good show. So,
and just one question.
Okay, questions.
Before it goes on, it says, Ben said, did you find any more information about your visa situation?
Yes, no, Ben. I'll talk about it a bit, but realistically, the only option open to us at the moment is a residency visa, which is a little bit of a long-winded process, and I'm not sure whether we should do that or just risk staying here for another month or so and deal with the immigration on the way out. That's where we're tending to go towards at the moment. Yeah, we're thinking of just winging it. So
so Mia says, my new shirt, Steve, my favourite colour, looks so nice.
Yes, this one makes some noise. Makes some noise.
And Piper says, Steve and Michelle, how was the experience eating out again with your friends?
It was beautiful, actually. We went out with everyone from the street.
Our curfew family, wasn't it?
Our little curfew family, everyone's here from the Corona refugees, as we like to think of ourselves. We all went down for a meal, had a great time, good company. We ended up on one of the balconies here with a friend, watching the night sort of sky and just chatting till sort of midnight or so. And it was really, really nice and so unusual after being cooped up for such a long time. It's quite refreshing, even today, to go down to the market and just now. I know some of you won't be happy, but we didn't wear our masks. A lot of people weren't wearing masks. A lot of people were wearing masks. I'm happy to catch whatever I have to catch in those market situations. But it was lovely, we were tasting and sampling foods again, and just trying everything, buying all sorts of things. I got some beautiful dates. Oh no, these are actually dried apricots. So we got some fresh apricots, which are really sweet at the moment. Juicy and sweet, absolutely delicious. And then we got these dried apricots that are dark, much darker than the normal apricots you would see in the supermarkets back in Australia. But I tried both. The guy told me on the market that these were a lot better quality than the pale coloured ones, and they're just much more sugary, almost like a
He let us try them, didn't he? He didn't just say it, he did let us try them.
Almost like a demerara sugar, so rich and sweet.
Dirt says, good no masks, it's all fake anyway. You got your mouth full.
And we'll probably have those with some fresh yogurt and some beautiful honey. Michelle will probably make those up. So I've got a big bag of those rich apricots, and my favorite dates. I think these are a sort of medjool date. They're not probably the best quality dates, but they're pretty good. These are the very big fleshy dates. Here's a nice looking example.
Bruno said, I made a date tart with
figs, not dates. Dates. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Yeah, no, these are dates.
Yeah.
Now, I've had these in different parts of the Middle East before, and they are so soft and fleshy and so delicious. When you bite into these, it is like caramel. It's like a beautiful, thick caramel sauce. And I love these. These will keep you regular. I've had about a dozen of them already today. Have you all had these sort of dates before? Normally when we buy them back in Australia, they're tiny little things in a little tray. You know, you get them around Christmas time. They've got no real flavour to them. But these ones are like a rich, sweet. They've got the similar sort of pip inside. Jasper, you've had them, yeah?
Yeah, and Dirk says dates are one of the best flavours there is, truly amazing.
The medjool dates, or medjool dates, that's what I call them anyway, are some of the best dates in the world. You can get them in. I've had them in Dubai before, in some sort of 5-star establishments where they're almost as big as an apple. They're sort of getting up to this sort of size. The sweetness, the richness of those dates, it's absolutely delicious. So if you've not had these before, get an order some online if you can get them, or if you can buy them where you are, get them.
Omar says good source of iron.
And low calories as well. Very good natural sugars. Very low calorific. You've got all the positive things in dates.
I've only had medjool dates. Mio said so good medjool's fudgy.
Like fudge. Yeah, like a rich, sweet fudge.
And Arthur says have those at the Qatar Lounge in Doha Airport.
I've had them in Doha. I've had them in Dubai, also in a fancy hotel once, where they were a very high quality, very expensive date. These are probably not far off. I mean, the flavors are. How much were these? I can't remember the price. They're the most expensive dates they sell there. They do the smaller ones as well, but these ones are.
Were they 70? Yeah.
Any questions, Michelle? Well, I just.
What you've got? I'm just looking if I missed anything.
I don't want to swallow it too quickly. It's so good.
Ben said you're lucky, Steve. UK is still more locked down than Turkey, Istanbul, it seems.
Yum yum. Well, they are good.
The Irish Celt is in. Hi from Ireland.
Hi. Top of the morning to you. Top of the evening. End of the evening.
Bruno said I had some.
What do you say in the evening? If you say top of the morning, when do you say that? What's the appropriate time to say that, or is it just never an appropriate time to say that?
So Bruno said I had some of those. They were very nice and slightly tart.
No, they're not tart. They're actually way too. They should be quite smooth. Really, almost like the center of a fig roll. You know, that sort of rich paste that you get in there, but it's almost like a caramel, like a mixture between honey and rich dark sugars and caramel.
So Bruno said my father had them in the 80s. Back then they were very expensive where I live.
These are almost as delicious though. These I want to say peaches. They're not peaches. They're apricots. These apricots. So this is just a regular apricot that's been pipped and then dried. And these are absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, we're not just here to eat. We're here to chat.
Amir says still itchy on the beard? Question mark.
No, it's calming down. It's calming down. I think I'm over the hill on that one.
Good. So good morning is an appropriate time for absolutely no one says top of the morning. And why not?
Well, maybe I'll start a trend. Not.
Eddie says what you're eating today.
G'day, Eddie. I've just some fruits and things, man, that I picked up from the market.
Sue,
Ed, how are you, mate? Hello, Sue.
She said you'll be on the loo all day tomorrow.
Yeah, it will probably go straight through me. You're right. Let's not talk about that.
And Ed said I had them raw in Saudi, crunchy like an apple. Nice.
I imagine so. So what has it been like for us here in lockdown? A lot of you have been following the story. You know, we got that. We arrived here in Turkey just over 3 months, well, just over 90 days ago, about 100 days, I think we've been here now. And we had about probably 10 days to 2 weeks of exploring Istanbul. when we arrived, we were in a hotel in another area. Then we came to this apartment, and within probably the first week, it started to close down. It's been interesting, you know. Michelle and I are not used to sort of being stuck in one place for any length of time, so we're starting to get a little stir crazy. But it's not been too bad. I mean, the only thing I would say here is there's been a bit of an irregularity. The government haven't, I think they haven't handled it as well as I would like to. You've got to be careful what you say. Apparently in Turkey, not that I care really. You've got to be careful what you say. Mustn't insult what the authorities are doing. But I'm not insulting, but I just feel like, you know, weekend curfews have not been the right way to go. Locking people in for just 2 or 3 days and then letting everybody out has probably been not that productive. In many ways, I think the idea to lock people down for 2 or 3 weeks would have been a much better idea, and that way you could have isolated it. But as a rule, I find the Turkish people are quite rebellious. They don't really want to follow those rules. So although there's been curfews and lockdowns on our street, for example, well, you've seen them on the live streams. People are out in the streets even during the curfew. So we haven't had the same degree of lockdown that friends of mine in Spain have had, for example, where they literally weren't allowed out of their homes for several weeks, or when they were allowed out, they could only just go for very short distances. Even if you had pets, you could only walk round the block. So there was a long lockdown, and very much more, I think, the people in Spain adhered to the rules. Certainly in some of the smaller villages and towns in Andalusia, in the south, where friends of ours are staying, they seem to have had a pretty hard 2 or 3 months. Here in Istanbul, it's felt fairly cruisy, really, hasn't it? It hasn't been so bad.
No.
Except for we just haven't, we haven't had the restaurants for, we worked out how many days it was it about 80 days?
Yeah. So.
About 80 days without any restaurants and very limited shopping. That's been a bit of a pain in the backside, to be honest. And we're really kind of at the point now where we just want to get on and do something. Explore. I would like to explore Turkey. There's many people have told me to sort of get out and visit places like Cappadocia and parts of the coastal. A friend of ours has just gone down to a place called Bodrum, which is Bodrum. Right down south. I'm not sure. Serkan, I don't know if Serkan will be in this evening. It looks kind of quite touristy. It might not be my cup of tea, but I wouldn't mind a bit of sea time at the moment, a bit of coastal time. Don't you think, Michelle?
Yeah. There's 2 comments here. Mankorn says, hello from Miami. Watched your channel for a while now because I love Istanbul. Also been there last year and thinking of going there again this year. Cheers and good luck.
Thank you, man.
And Bruno says, I haven't been out for 3 weeks. I get my food delivered.
Okay, Bruno. So not at all, not even for a little walk?
The Irish starts, it's all a big scam, a drill training for part 2.
I'm not having part 2. Wherever part 2 plays out, I'm going to be somewhere else.
Bonnie says, Lol, I think they saw your rant the other day. That's why they lifted the lockdown.
Do you know what happened the other day on that live show? Is Michelle? Now I got told off. I don't know which one of you told me off, and I accept.
You so, no, not really.
And I accept it, right? Because I know it can sound sometimes, but Michelle, let me explain. Somebody said you're very rude to your wife. Now, they obviously don't know us because they didn't say Michelle. They just said that you were very rude to your wife. Now, I know sometimes Michelle and I, we've been together for a long, long time, haven't we?
We have.
Long time.
Long time.
Way too long, really, way too long. And I'm teasing, right? But I don't.
But
we understand. We forget sometimes that you don't understand our sort of a little bit flippant nature that we have. So sometimes we say things. I think when Michelle delivered the news that they were curfewing this next weekend, I think my whole sort of attitude dropped a little bit, and I said to her something like, I wish you hadn't told me, and maybe they thought I was being a bit rude. But it's just the way we talk to each other. She's rude to me as well sometimes, I don't hear any of you defending me ever. Or maybe it was because because I was trying to take the glory out of the fact that she had that pretty dress on, which I think she looked beautiful in, by the way. And I was trying to sort of steal her thunder. Maybe they thought I was being rude there, but it's all meant to be
Anyway, the
light-hearted.
reason why you were saying that, you were explaining what they did on that with regards to the lockdown.
So yeah, so they actually, so you all, some of you will know that I messaged the president here, Erdogan, on Twitter and asked him, you know, what's going on, but he didn't reply to me, which I was a bit surprised. Yeah,
Well, that was a bit rude, really.
a little bit. So I did ask him what was going on. He hasn't replied to me at the moment. I also asked if he could sort my visa out for me, which currently he hasn't come up with an answer, but I'm sure he'll get back to me very shortly. But anyway, I got the message from Michelle saying that we were completely for curfew on the weekend. It was another 48-hour curfew on a Thursday night, so we only had 1 day's notice. And I was pretty peeved, to be frank, because, you know, the whole week we've been out to shops, the shopping malls had opened, restaurants had opened, everything was almost back to normal. There was social distancing going on. What on God's earth was there a good reason to say, let's lock down for the weekend? So everybody was a bit unhappy. In the following morning, I met a lot of friends outside and they were all sort of a bit morose and a bit miserable about this lockdown. And then a message came through on Friday morning saying that the president had reversed it, the decision, and we weren't having a lockdown. So go figure.
But apparently it was the foreign minister said we were having a lockdown.
Yeah.
And then people telephoned Erdogan and said, please don't lock us down. So he said, oh, okay.
That's one story, is that people had called Erdogan and said that there shouldn't be a lockdown. Personally, I think he watches my live streams and he probably said, you know, if Steve's unhappy about it, we should lift it. So that was nice. So we're all sorted. The weekend was open. The markets were on.
Paul said, I'm still waiting for the president.
Am I getting into? Am I sailing too close to the wind? Am I being all right talking about Erdogan? Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh dear. So I'm just stoked. The weekend, that, you know, the actual the planned curfew didn't go ahead and the market was open. It was absolutely thumping down the market today. It was chock-a-block with people. We were shoulder to shoulder down there, and luck, I didn't wear a mask, because what I've figured now is, because everyone else is wearing a mask, I can't capture anything. So that's my principle. Whilst everybody down the market's wearing a mask, I'm as safe as can be without my mask on. Apologies to anybody that takes offence over that true statement.
Well, I think either you're full mask or you're not, so, you know.
I'm not really apologising, Michelle, you know that.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
You know that. I wouldn't apologise. But there was a good balance of people down there. Most of the vendors were not wearing masks, but it was just nice. It was really good to be there. So any tips? I know there's a few people from Turkey. Where should we go next? Should we stay here? Cheers, mate. Should we stay here in Istanbul, which is what I would like to do? There's still a lot of places that we haven't seen here. Or should we head Izmir? Yeah, see, Mert said Izmir is beautiful, and everything I've looked online says Izmir is a good place. I think actually that's a place I would like to visit. Any other suggestions though, stick them in the comments, because we'll have a look at them a little bit later on, or Michelle will Google the locations. So long as we don't get kicked out. And we even talked today, because we had such a nice time in the market today, and it was I'm talking to you a little bit, Mert, here, because I know you're listening at the moment, mate. It was really nice in the market. The police are in the street again. Oh no, it's just a guy with flashing lights. No, it is the police. It felt like these guys were not city. I don't think the market traders are city guys. I think they probably go around different parts of Turkey selling their wares, but I think a lot of them come from the country, from outside the city, and they bring in the wares and they sell them there. And they're just really nice people. I know they're a little bit sort of like rough on the edges, but they're really nice people. And I said to Michelle, the prices are probably a little bit high here in the city. The freshness of the produce is probably a little bit on, not as fresh as it might be in some of the smaller towns. So if we went to places like Izmir, I think that the food would be better, fresher. I think dealing with the vendors will be more interesting. I think my Turkish will come along a bit better if they don't understand the English. A lot of the guys in the market do understand English, so it forced me to speak Turkish. So at one point, walking through the market, we were thinking about getting a residency and just staying here forever and a day, and then we sort of have other ideas, and then we think about walking the Camino de Santiago. So
Ben says, "Oh no, please, compliments, Steve, compliments, quick." So,
I can't get more complimentary than that. And a lovely policeman, by the way, just went down the street. Lovely fella.
so Paul Webber said you should go to the pub next. Bazak says, I say explore Istanbul deeply for at least 2 weeks, Asian side and the Princess Islands, then go down to Izmir, Bodrum, Antalya, and all the little towns along the western southern coast. And then he says, next head to Cappadocia and possibly also the Black Sea region for a whole different natural landscape.
Yeah, the Black Sea region sounds really good. I've had a lot of recommendations. There's I think we've missed it now, but or maybe it's later in the year, but there's a big hazelnut picking season. When do the hazelnuts come into? Maybe somebody can Google that for me. Let me know when the hazelnuts are coming in. So it would be fascinating to see the harvests coming in. We probably missed the olive harvest. I think that's sort of late winter time, maybe sort of a little bit before Christmas. If it's the same as Sicily, it's a late autumn time. But I'm sure there are various harvests coming in. There's obviously a lot of soft fruits coming in at the moment. So it would be really fascinating, and maybe to get on the coast and see the fish coming in. I think we'll stay here longer. I'm getting very to the point where I want to stay for quite some time and explore a lot more of Turkey, and then maybe towards late summer we could pop over to Greece as well, visit some family and friends over there, and then maybe we could do the Camino de Santiago in the autumn. Just a thought.
So Golf Football Management said, love your channel, new sub here, cheers from Lebanon.
Good day, mate.
And Bazak said, I think hazelnut picking is mostly August, but I might be wrong.
Well, it looks like we'll be here in August, so.
And Ben said apparently it's between August and September.
Right, that's when I thought the nut seasons were.
Bruno says, I go to Turkey a lot, especially there. It's so lovely there. I assume he means Istanbul. And Mert says, we don't want to let you go either.
Well, that's the thing. You see, walking around the streets here.
He's making me use translate because he's writing in Spanish, but he also says Barcelona.
Yeah, Español.
Wait.
Spain also, we're going to be in Spain. When we walk the Camino de Santiago, we'll be in Spain. At the end of the Camino, we'll spend a bit of time in Spain, a bit of time in France. It's going to be a long time before we get back to Australia, isn't it? But, that'll happen. We want to be back in Australia for Christmas time. That's one thing I had planned this year, just to see the family and what have you. Have we got our own cat yet, Mio? No, but I've got a lot of cats I love. I've got a lot of cats that know me and sort of, we kind of sort of adopted, particularly the pregnant one that's in the street. She's a sweetheart. I haven't given her a name.
No.
Maybe we could call her Mio. Mio.
Mona says, Stephen Michelle, good morning, dear folk. How are you?
Hey, Mona, how are you? Good to have you in. Have you been here the whole time, Mona, or you just dropped in? I mean, we've had quite a few cats ourselves, Bruno in the past, and dogs, of course. Mert, we've had some dogs as well. Mert likes dogs. I know okay, there is like a cat logo and a dog, what do they call them? Emoji. So are you a cat person or a dog person? You can chuck up an emoji in the chat. If you're a dog person, find the dog emoji. If you're a cat person, find the cat emoji, and let's see have a little vote up, see who likes what.
So Mio says, oh shoot, nice.
I'm going to call that cat Mio. It hasn't got a name, but it's Mio the Meow.
And Mona said, just dropped in, lovely to see you both.
Good, Mona. Always lovely to see you.
Flamingos. That's what Mio likes.
Flamingos. Mert knows how to do it. He's chucked a dog in there. What dog is that?
Yeah.
Just a
Little
little. It looks
Mona
like.
likes cats.
Mert, I think that's a Pomeranian. You like that little Pomeranian downstairs?
Sally likes cats. That's it.
Sally likes cats. I like them. I like them both. We've had. I mean, if I go back to Australia, Mum's got a dog, beautiful little cute dog, who we love to death. My kids have got cats because we've had a lot of cats at home in the past. So you know, I kind of like them both. I've taken a bit of I've taken a shine to Chihuahuas, which is kind of strange because yeah, we did some house sitting in Australia and we looked after Chihuahuas twice.
Different ones.
And I always thought Chihuahuas going to be yappy little dogs, you know. But I know they're cute dogs. But I did a house sit for a lovely South American girl, and she had 3 Chihuahuas, and we said we'd look after them while she went away on holiday. And by the end of that stay, we'd fallen in love with these little Chihuahuas. They weren't yappy dogs. They weren't noisy, but they were Rena's dogs and cats. They were great characters, really lots of fun. The only thing is, when I used to walk them down the street, I felt a bit like I should mince, you know, little steps or something as I walked down, because these little, it was like taking gerbils for a walk on a shoestring, you know, like a couple of shoestrings with some gerbils, and I'm walking down the street with these things, and I get guys coming. This is Australia, right? So there's a lot of guys walking down with sort of bulldogs and staffies and all the sorts, and there's me walking down the high street with this little gerbil on a shoestring. Absolutely. And of course, because they're afraid of the big dogs, you've got to pick them up. So I put it under my arm and sort of mince along the street with it. That's where I struggle a little bit with Chihuahuas.
But if you play with them in the garden, they don't need long walks.
Yeah, they're good.
So Piper says she likes cats and dogs. Ed likes penguins. Petri says, when you guys return to Australia, do you realise you've missed home after being away for some time?
Yes, always. By the time, sorry, I'm just plugging in because my battery's getting a little low. We miss Australia all the time. Whenever you're outside the country that you're used to, you tend to miss it. But when I get back, I'm quite eager to get travelling again. So yeah, I miss it. I don't miss country so much as I miss people. That's the way I always tend to think of it. You know, when we go back to Australia, it's not to see Australia so much as to see the kids and the family. But I really enjoyed touring Australia. We had a really good time. And every time I meet people, I always say you should go to Australia. I think it's one of the most beautiful countries in the world. So, you know, Michelle and I toured around Australia for 12 months about 12 months ago, and we'd like to do that again. Actually, there's so many parts of Oz that we haven't seen, so that's going to probably happen in the next couple of years. Hi Ahmed, how are you, man?
Sally likes giraffes.
You're all being silly. It's because you can't work out where the cat and dog emojis.
Eddie says, why do they call them chihuahuas? Because they chew and you go ow ow.
No, Eddie, they don't call them chihuahuas for that reason, but they don't. They're good dogs. And then we actually looked after another 2 Chihuahuas in Perth, in Western Australia, and again straight away I took to them.
Such personality.
They got really good personalities. They're good dogs. If you don't judge people with Chihuahuas like I've always done my life. Can I finish this apricot that I bit about 10 minutes ago because it was delicious? Paul, I've spoken to a few people about. Thank you, Paul, mate.
Because you like dogs.
Paul likes dogs, yes. There's not a lot of choice at the moment in the shops, but I've got to find myself a proper sort of pet shop and get him a nice set of chews. Paul actually
get her.
Sorry, misgendered the dog again. I shall lose my Twitter account. So Paul actually asked me to go and get a nice treat for Kurt, the dog here on the street, and we spoke with the locals, and the thing is, Paul, she's never short of food. I mean, there is so much food on the street, and that's why a lot of these dogs are a little bit overweight. Plus, they eat the cat food. So she's up there. It's not great actually, because they chuck out lasagna and pasta and any food that's left over. They put down by her little house down there, and she has, lots of kibble, lots of biscuits on the street. So I just feel like it's a bit hard. So I just to go in, the local shops here only really sell kibble and dog food and the likes. So what I'm going to do is look out for more of a, maybe some of those dental sticks or something like that. She'll eat them in a few seconds. It won't last that long, but I just don't think it's worth getting her the sort of stuff that she can get all over the street. So I haven't forgotten, mate.
She's gone walkabout lately, a lot lately, isn't she?
She's happy.
Yeah, she's going further afield.
She's so happy now because there's so many people on the streets again. You can see her demeanour, it's picked up. So, any questions? Was there other things I wanted to cover today, Michelle?
No, you were just talking about what was really happening and not happening here. These things are starting to happen, aren't they?
Throw some questions up for me so I can, get me working on some ideas while I just have a couple of cherries. I'm just going to pop a cherry or two.
So Bruno says, is Michelle spelt with one L or two? I'm spelt with one L.
One L, the French way.
Piper said, I've had dogs all my life until my stroke, and I got my first cat. He's part Blue Russian and is very vocal, so I named him Singer.
Very good.
Bruno says, can you do a passion fruit cheesecake recipe?
I've probably done a passion fruit cheesecake.
No, that one.
No?
No, not passion fruit.
Okay, passion fruit cheesecake is actually one of my favourites as well, so I should have done it. I do like passion fruit cheesecake, but you can actually, if you get the lemon cheesecake, I often make on my channel, and I'll get Michelle to put up a link to the lemon cheesecake. Probably the smaller ones we've done, the individual lemon cheesecakes we made in Malaysia. And that cheesecake works really well if you put passion fruit on top of it. So you make the cheesecake as I make it in this recipe and if you want, you can make the homemade biscuit base, because I've got 2 or 3. Either you use a biscuit base or you make your own biscuit base, your own delicious base, and then just put passion fruit on top. That works really well. We have got a recipe for passion fruit marshmallows, yes. I think. So how about if Michelle sticks up the recipe for passion fruit marshmallows, homemade marshmallows. They are so good. So any other questions?
Well, they probably are, but I'm looking for recipes.
Ben's saying about what countries, how are you going? Have you decided which country you're going to? I think from here, Ben, we will go to. No.
What's it today?
Yeah, it changes. It changes every day. We've got a choice between heading to France to do the Camino. I think it's going to be probably another month before we can leave here at the very earliest. So the problem with that is it's July, and I think it might be quite hot in Spain, in northern Spain during July. It might not be the best time to do the Camino. If that's the case, then we'll probably stay in Turkey, Greece, and maybe Bulgaria, and just make our way, burn up 2 or 3 months until the autumn comes, and then walk the Camino in September. Does that suit you all? Does that work?
Mm-hmm. So Bruno was asking if we made lemon drizzle cake. I've just put that recipe up as well.
I make really good lemon drizzle cake, Bruno.
And it goes well with the passion fruit on top, it sure does.
Yeah, it does. But lemon drizzle cake, Michelle will put the recipe up there. What's Ben
talk? Those days and invite you both. Try what, Matt? What are you inviting us to? It's okay, everyone spells my name wrong, Piper. I'm quite used to it, but it is with 1 L.
She doesn't mind. 1 L, 2 L, it really doesn't matter.
It's not 6 L's.
Thank you, Mert. I'm not sure, I didn't catch what you were inviting me to, mate, but I know it's going to be fun. whatever you do.
So Bruno's got to go, so we're saying bye. Marja's saying, what area suburb do you stay in Istanbul?
Margie?
Marja, Masman.
Oh, I thought it was... Sorry, I thought it was Margie from over the road. We are in Beyoğlu, which is sort of Beyoğlu. It's a Taksim Beyoğlu. I'm probably saying it wrong.
Yeah.
Forgive me. I'll get better at my pronunciation. Maybe.
Ben
No,
says, sorry, what date for the Camino, Steve?
Ben, I just said, at the moment, we can't to start the Camino, you need to be there. Summertime is not the best time to do it. I was asking a few friends that have done Camino walks before, and it isn't that good to do it in July and August because the weather gets very hot, and you're always walking in the sun, and it can just drain you. It can be just a little bit too hot. So to do 800 kilometers, to do 30 to 40 days of walking in July and August can be a bit overbearing. So that's why people generally walk in the early spring from sort of April, May time, or they go in the late summer, early autumn. They're the best times to walk. Now, if we can't leave, and I won't repeat this again, Ben, so I hope you're listening.
He says, I know, I'm sorry.
So that's okay, mate. But if we can't leave here till the end of this month, so that would be the beginning of July, that would mean we would be starting the Camino in the beginning, at the very earliest, if we got over there, sort of like, 5th to 10th of July, which means we'd be walking all the way through into August, the very hottest weather. You can get,
see, the thing is,
temperatures can be 40 degrees and plus. We've had them 45 in Spain before, haven't we, when we've been driving?
I don't think we're going to be able to get into Spain much before the 1st of July anyway. That's the issue we're having. So
it looks to me like we're probably more likely going to have to postpone this a couple of more months and walk the Camino in the autumn time. And again, there's a little bit of a window of opportunity because if you leave it too late and you get into October, November time, the weather gets cold and wet. It's the rainy season, and it's not that great to walk the Camino when it's raining. The floor, it gets muddy and dirty and pretty cold. So that's the plan. Unless something happens that suddenly opens up and we can get there next week, then we could possibly just about do it in the early part. But I think we're almost giving up on that.
So Arthur says, have you been out on a boat to see the city from the water?
No, but it's just this is the first week that the city has opened up, and we've been out quite a bit already. We've done quite a few sort of trips out looking at different parts of the city we haven't been to. It's early days, and we're not like normal tourists, who just go. We don't have to go and see all the big, the big mosques and the big bazaars and things. Michelle and I are quite happy just discovering the streets around us. So we're not going to bust a gut going to see every single last thing in just 2 weeks. If we can't, if we.
But we'll get out of the water because we'll go to the Asian side, won't we? So
we will. But I would have loved to have just spent 3 months walking around and taxiing and busing or using the public transport and just exploring Istanbul, but I think we're running out of time to do that now.
So Mia's got to go now. It says, but thank you so much for love and beautiful videos. Can't wait for the Camino. Chat soon.
Ciao, Mio.
Rena says, if you decide to stay there, will you change your apartment?
Who said that?
Rena.
I've got to be careful what I say, Rena, because the people, I don't want to sort of, the people that run my apartments sometimes watch these streams. Not now, I don't think, but they might watch them later. So I don't want to give heads up on what we're planning to do at the moment. We're happy here for the time being, but I like to keep my cards a little close to my chest on that respect.
So Mert was saying cheesecake and Jägermeister. That's what he was taking that for, I think.
Cheesecake, yes. Jägermeister, no. I know you like it, ma'am.
So Nadine says,
but I'm a lightweight.
Has public transport started in Istanbul?
Yes, it has. Pretty much all the public transport is up and running in some form. There's limited seating. You've got to sit separately. You've got to wear masks. That's one of the reasons I'm walking everywhere. I don't want to get on the public transport and sort of sit with a mask on. I'm a bit of a wuss when it comes to. No, I'm not a bit of a wuss. I'm just.
Paul says, but Jaeger is so smooth.
Well, Mert's going to introduce us to his Jaegers. He is the Jaeger master, the Jägermeister.
So Ben says, let's hope you can do it in September. Then I don't think Spain is opening their borders until at least July.
Yes, so it's only July, August, September. It's only 2 months. I mean, months pass by so quickly. Just think we've been here over 3 months, and you know what it's been like, guys. A lot of you have been following the whole story since we've been here. Look how quickly it's passed. So yeah, it's all good.
So Orhan said avoid Antalya during July and August as temperatures can reach 50 degrees with the humidity levels extremely high. So that's going down south, because he was talking about the markets down there.
Yes, yeah.
That's too hot.
I think there are parts of Turkey also, though, away from the coast that get quite clement weather in the summertime. So it's not all hot. Well, we'll just have to see. Cappadocia, I think, is going to be pretty hot. I would love to go to Cappadocia. Actually, there's some smaller towns around Cappadocia which are a little less known, a little less touristic, and I wouldn't mind seeing them. Some beautiful ancient cities out there with some amazing sort of historic venues that you can just sort of rock up to that aren't all on the tourist tracks, he says.
And Nadine says you can catch a ferry to the Asian side, then Kadakoy and Moda.
Yeah, and we've had a few people invite us to come over to the Kadakoy side and taste the food over there, and we're going to do that, and we'll take you guys along with us. Obviously, we'll take the cameras and we'll film it. So we're going to start. Whilst we're only sort of 47 minutes into this chat, I'll let you know that we're going to slow down a little bit on the videos, not go every day as we were trying to do last week. I want to produce slightly better quality videos, that we'll still probably be churning out at least 3 videos a week, but I'm going to slow down a bit and get you some slightly better content. Usual stuff, you know, the style that I know a lot of you like, where we get out on the streets and talk and what's there, but we're just going to try and, you know, maybe think them through a little bit more, whereas when we were filming, when we were locked down, it was pretty much just the streets around us.
And Mona says, is the tour by motorbike still on the cards? It's a great idea, very romantic.
Who said that?
Mona.
Oh, Mona, if I could get right now, and if I could get a motorbike right now, Michelle and I would be off. We'd be sort of off touring around Turkey on a bike, even if it was just a nice big scooter, you know, like the X Max or something like that. Even if it was a Yamaha X Max, the newer models, the 400 models with the big panniers on the back, and that would be perfect for us. But there's other issues. Again, you see, renting a bike could be expensive, and I don't like just throwing money away when we're traveling. We always try to travel on a fairly tight budget, so, you know, to chuck $1,000 on the bike for a month, it wouldn't be that much. But, you know, even to chuck $500 away, I'd rather buy a bike. For us to buy a bike here in Turkey is not so easy, so I don't know how we get around that. I know that if we went into Bulgaria, we could buy a bike in Bulgaria, because we could register a bike there, because it's the rules and regulations there are simpler. But no, we run hot and cold on the bike idea. Well, no, I never go cold on it. I'd love to get a bike. Every time we see somebody, yesterday we were walking in the city down Istanbul Street, and there was a couple about our age, perhaps a little younger, and they jumped on to a nice big scooter, and there was a big seat on the back. And I said to Michelle, I said, God, I would love to have that so we could just get off to the coast and do some exploring, or head into the country and do some exploring. And I talked to the couple. I had a chat with them, and they were just, saying how lovely the bike was. And that was just an X Max, but it was a mod. It was one of the, I think it was a 400, so it was the bigger X Max with a big comfortable seat on the back. That would do us fine.
Serkan Zuni said, hi Steve, greetings from Bodrum.
Serkan, how are you, mate? Mert's in as well. Say hello to Mert. Serkan is in. Now, Serkan is one of our buddies here who's actually already moved away down to Bodrum, and he sent me some pictures. He's in a beautiful hotel, got a pool. I think the beach isn't far away from him. It's normally a very touristic area, but I think from what I've heard, it's a lot quieter than it would normally be. But if we had the motorbike, we could scoot down there and sort of like we'd do anything. I'm still really keen on that idea. I just don't know how I can do it, because there are a number of things. You have to be able to have an address, a residency address, to register a bike. You have to have the right sort of stuff to get paperwork and insurance. And because Turkey is not in Europe, it's a tricky place to do that. Otherwise, we would just buy a bike and do it. The other thing is we haven't got the bags for a bike, and we haven't got our bike gear. So I'd really want to get proper bike gear if we were going to do sort of long distance driving. Proper safety gear and helmets. And that's another thing that takes time. You need to. It's easier to do that sort of stuff in your home country.
Ellie says, please take your time. Longer videos is always okay too, though considering your data situation, do what works best for you.
Thank you, man. We will.
Says the same. Take your time.
Yeah, we will. We will. And it's been quite hard trying to get those videos uploaded for you as well. So I think by slowing down a bit, we might get a bit of downtime ourselves, and even be able to do the Facebook pop quiz maybe next week sometime if we get round to it, if Wendy's still there. Now I also got today, these are like peanuts, but they're covered. This is good beer drinking snacks. They're sort of covered in it's like a sort of curry puff on the outside.
I think they're like cheesy things.
You thought they're cheesy?
Yeah.
I think it's the colour that's making you think they're cheesy.
Like what's it?
They look like cheese puffs, but to me they taste like curry.
The reader says, for me, your blogs have kept me sane and entertained through this pandemic season, so thankful.
They've done the same for us as well, Rena. But that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
You know it does, Rena. We've spoken about it before. The fact that you enjoy watching what we produce means a lot to us. But it also gives Michelle and I, something to do while we're here. And it's fun. It's always fun to chat to you guys on the live streams. I never used to do these live streams as long as this. And what we will do, by the way, next week we'll do a live stream out in the streets, yeah?
Yes, that'd be good. I was thinking we should.
So we'll take you out in the streets and show you some of Istanbul central sort of area. So that'll be fun. A bit like we did a few weeks ago, but I'll make sure I take the powered brick with me this time.
So we don't just cut off.
So yeah, that's great.
So let's hit that thumbs up, because we've not quite got a right number of thumbs up to the people watching.
Thumbs up, everybody. No, we've got only 14 thumbs up. We need more.
Got to do that. The algorithms.
The algorithms. Should have said that earlier when there was more numbers in.
Yes, I know.
I'm gonna start myself another.
What? Squirty one. Squirty one. They are ripe, aren't they? The mulberries are all finished now, so now I think the apricots. We had the apricots
about 10 days ago, and they weren't nice, but these ones are juicy. That just squirted all up my arm.
Petri says, I love it when you guys take us on live field trips. Are you doing that?
Yeah, I'm doing that, but I'm actually doing it just to get the juice off of my arm. Thank you, Petri. So, did anyone hit the thumbs up? Yes, they do. Hit that thumbs up.
Oh, see, they do as they're told.
Help the algorithm. More questions.
Yeah, I think I've run out of questions or I've missed it. If I've not said your
More
question,
questions.
you have
Get
to
me
say it.
rolling.
We like doing live field trips too, don't we? You know, going out and about.
Did you see that? I'm covered in juice, Michelle.
Serkan, I don't do German.
What's he saying?
I don't know.
Mert, danke, alles gut. All is good. Mert
Not
is
that
just,
bit.
also ich versauch es und so.
Oh, he's talking to Mert.
Okay.
All right then. You two carry on with the conversations.
He's saying something. There's not so much tourism down there, but
Yes. He says, try to enjoy. It's not bad at all to see yours.
yeah.
Thank you, Google. So Arthur's given us 2 thumbs up.
Thank you, Arthur. But do it on the video as well.
I think they are.
I'm sure you have. I'm all sticky now. I'm covered in.
There's the wet wipe. One of our ones that we've got.
Yeah, got me a wet wipe. Every time we go to a restaurant in Turkey, they give you wet wipes, which is nice. A lot of countries do this.
Yes.
They did it in India as well.
Yeah.
Everywhere
This
we
wasn't
went.
just because of the pandemic.
And then no, it's not to do, but frequently we don't use them. So Michelle pops them in her bag because we're like that, you know. And we've actually we travel with wet wipes anyway. So we've used one. Yippee! Used a wet wipe.
Don't like to waste things. Could just leave them there, really, but.
We could. So, are we running out? Are we running out of questions? Because I'm happy to roll up. It's getting late. We can roll. We can stop on the 1 hour.
Or you're getting told off, Mert, by Ben. He said he approved the comment, but the language is a bit tut-tut.
That's because they antagonize each other, Ben. Let them roll, man.
Ben says he can read German.
Yes, they antagonize each other because they're both Turks with German backgrounds. They both speak German. They both speak Turkish, and they're both lovely guys. And we have actually another one of our neighbors here, Hamza. Hamza, I have to look over at Mert. Hamza is leaving on Tuesday, so people are starting. The neighbourhood's starting to break up as well, which would be sad as people start to leave. So another one of the guys is leaving on Tuesday. So we're thinking of maybe sort of having another little get together. Well, I haven't spoken to anyone about it yet, but I'm thinking of having another little get together anyway. So that could happen.
But it was quite nice because we got people together who didn't know each other, didn't we? And they've been here this long, but they've just not seen each
Yeah,
other.
it's becoming a really good community here, and there's some lovely people, all mixed people from all over the world, and we're starting to lose 1 or 2 of them. So some of them are leaving and going elsewhere, and I suspect within the next month, either Michelle and I will be the last one sort of hanging in here, or we'll all be gone.
The Met says we need fresh people, Steve. Let them go.
Yeah, I know, man. We need fresh people. We've got fresh people. There's new people moving in as well. So things are starting to roll a little bit here. And you'll know from the video that I put up yesterday just how much busier it was on the streets. And Michelle, put the link up just in case anybody missed the video from yesterday. And you can see just how busy it is on the streets. And I think actually for what we could do at the end of this video is put up some of the Southeast Asian tours, you know, the train tours in Thailand and things. So for any of you, when this finishes, Michelle's going to put up a link of some of the Thailand tours. There's a beautiful train tour, the Meklong Railway, which goes that's the railway that goes between that right through the center of the market. So she'll put that link up. So when this live stream finishes, if you've got time, get across and watch it. Have any of you watched the Meklong Railway videos? That's where Michelle and I were in Thailand, and the train goes right the way through the center of the market. And as it comes along, literally the marketeers just move everything off the track, and they pull up the sort of canvas that covers their market stalls. The train comes right the way through the center of the market, and just as it goes through, they drop the canvas back down and push all the fruit and vegetable back out onto the track, and it's the most amazing thing. So that's in that playlist. There's quite a few other really interesting videos around Southeast Asia. I'll leave the link up for that if you haven't seen it already. So any questions, or we're going to wrap this up? Thank you everybody for coming in tonight. It's been great having you in. Check out the play. Have you done the playlist, Michelle?
Yeah, nearly done.
Check out the playlist. Leave some comments down there if you decide to watch them, so I know you've actually been in. Cheers to everybody. Love to you, and we will see you again for a live stream later in the week, but out on the streets rather than just sat in the apartment. And Michelle's here to say goodbye. Love you all.
Bye.
Be good. See you next time.